My name is Sheila Forsey and I'm a writer from County Wexford and based in County Wexford. I write historical fiction and I'm published by Pubeg Press. Today I'm going to talk a little bit about developing characters in fiction writing. This might be of interest to anybody from maybe 13 years onwards. So if you're interested in creative writing and you'd like to learn a little bit about developing your characters, this is hopefully for you. So I would like you to just take what you want from this. Some of it might be of interest to you or might kind of make sense to you, and some of it might not. But again, I'm just letting you know the way I go about developing my characters. My characters are incredibly important to me. And the reason of this is because the characters for me drive the story. So the story being the narrative, they drive the whole narrative. Some writers believe their plot is probably, as important or more important than their characters. Everybody has a different view on things. For me, it's the characters. They're what drives the story. So I could have an idea for a story, but my characters may have a different idea and they could change the whole storyline for me. So how does this really happen? I suppose at the beginning, I normally would have a main character. And this main character, I would say, almost comes to me in a strange way, that it's like an image or it's like a memory. It could be somebody I met a long time ago. It could be somebody I imagined, but it's a memory that seems to stay with me and almost haunt me a little bit. And then I know I have to write this character's story. They're knocking. They want me to listen to them. So I must listen to them and write their story if I can. So first of all, I have to get to know this character really, really well before I can attempt to write their stories in my books. So even though it's imagined, I really have to believe in this character and all the characters within the storyline. But the main character I would begin with. And almost like a best friend, I have to discover lots about them. So if you can imagine, with a best friend, we know a lot about our best friend. We know where they grew up. We know their likes, their dislikes, what they like to eat, how they eat, their loves, their worries, the things that might have happened to them, good and bad in life. But there's also other things that we still don't really know about our best friend. And that's what makes it so interesting for a character, because there always has to be, our curiosity is still there. We're still wondering about these characters. We're wondering what hidden secrets, what hidden depths are within the character. And this is what will often drive the story, this hidden secret. So even though we know so much about this character, we won't obviously put all that into the story, but we need to know it. And in drips and drips, it will come into the story, different things. But because we know the character now, we know how they might react to something. But then, like human beings or like our best friends, the character could do something that completely unpredictable and completely that we didn't see. And that's what can change the whole narrative then of the story. We have to allow them to do that. Because as a writer, that's what we're doing. We're allowing our characters to tell the story. And that's how, for me, it will begin. So the other thing that I would have to find out about my character is obviously, what do they look like? What's their, what is a visual of them? What's their mannerisms? What's their hair like? What's their eyes? What colour are their eyes? Maybe it's not a person that is your main character or within your stories. It could be a vampire or it's a monster, whatever it is. You have to have a visual so that you can describe this character, so that it leaps off the page and the reader can interpret this character and what this character looks like. But in order for us to do that, we will have to discover all those little bits about the character. So from the way they speak, from the way their hair is, to the way they walk, whatever it is you need to know, you need to discover that. And one of the really important things I found about developing my character is that I have to decide at the very beginning that I cannot judge my characters. Because I write historical fiction, all my characters are set in the past, and their morals then to the morals of today, their beliefs, maybe their religious beliefs, all sorts of things are changed. But I, as a writer, cannot put my beliefs into the character's beliefs. So wherever your characters are set, whether it's like me in the past, or whether it's in the future, or whether it's in an imagined world, they have to be of their time. They have to be of their people, and they have to be of their world. So we have to create their world around them so that they're comfortable in their world. And whatever they do, even though it's unpredictable and all sorts of things, it still has to be believable that this could have happened, that this did happen. Because if not, our characters are not going to be believable. So it's very important that we don't judge our characters. We're simply there to write their story. The next, I suppose, important thing is their dialogue, because dialogue is an art in itself, and it is something that, as a writer, for me, I have to work on. I have to try to hone it. I have to try to really work on it more and more all the time to make it believable. And what is dialogue even? Dialogue is obviously the conversation that goes on, but it's not simply a conversation. Because if we were to write a conversation, there's a lot of, well, yes, well, no, I don't know. And obviously we can't write that. So it has to sound like a conversation, but it's actually dialogue. And one of the best ways to actually learn how to do this is to look at other books and other writers and see how they have done it. So whatever your favourite books are, go back and look. If it's Harry Potter, or if it's Stephen King books, if it's Matilda, whatever it is, look at how the dialogue is laid out. Look at how it's written. Look at how believable it is. And this will help you to develop your character. So we have our dialogue, and we have this character now that we're really, really believing in. So the next thing that I would do then is really worry about the setting for the character, which is a completely separate thing to worry about, but obviously the character must be comfortable within their setting. And to do this, I would use the senses, because as a human being reading a piece of writing, we react through our senses. So what does the place that you're creating, what is the textures of it? What is the aroma of it? What is the sight of it? What is the sounds of it? And all this will help you to create your character, because your character will react to sounds, textures, sights. One of the first stories that ever really, I suppose, made me really think about characters is Alice in Wonderland, because Alice falls down a rabbit hole and she goes into another world, a world of magical creatures and crazy creatures, but it's the most believable world, because you really do believe Alice is in Alice in Wonderland. And that's what I think as a writer I'm constantly trying to strive to do, is to create another world with these believable characters. So I must fall down the rabbit hole and, like Alice in Wonderland, meet these crazy characters or not so crazy characters, whatever you're writing, but they must be believable, no matter what they are. I very much wish you luck on your creative writing journey. The creative writing journey will be one that is extremely rewarding to you. It's a wonderful craft and one that I would encourage you to do. Thank you so much for listening, and I wish you well. Thank you.